As a corrections officer, you see the worst of society. I've been working in the prison system for 13 years. I get to deal with the worst of the worst, those who have been caged away from the general public and will most likely never see the light of day again. A year ago, I was transferred to cell Block D, which is otherwise known as Death Row. You'd think this wasn't necessary, but every prisoner that has been isolated from the general population is marked. They wear a thin red bracelet that they can't break off as hard as they try. You know, beyond a doubt, whenever you see that thin red bracelet, that prisoner is a deadly psychotic criminal who would kill you for sport. This has been the worst hour of my life. At 11:03, a prisoner snapped the neck of a managing corrections officer on cell block C. At 11:05, this prisoner had obtained keycard access. At 11:11, the power to all cell blocks was cut. At 11:13, the gates to the general population opened. At 11:16, the number of loose prisoners overwhelmed corrections officers. At 11:19, we heard that cell block D prisoners had broken loose. At 11:20, I shit my pants. At 11:23, I watched as a corrections officer was sliced open by a prisoner and forced to ingest his own innards. At 11:24, I bumped into a fellow corrections officer fleeing from the cell block, and we agreed to stick together. At 11:26, Tom and I found a vacant cell to barricade ourselves in to avoid the onslaught as prisoners attacked corrections officers. At 11:31, I watched a prisoner smash the head of an officer into the bars we hid behind, splitting his skull down to the center and sending flecks of brain and blood in our direction. At 11:37, blood-curdling screams echoed throughout the hall. At 11:41, I glanced into the hall to see a prisoner dig his teeth into the jugular of a corrections officer, blood spurting violently in all directions. At 11:45, I realized that most of us had been murdered. At 11:49, Tom and I huddled closer together, still out of sight, both sobbing and frightened. At 11:51, there was dead silence. At 11:52, I realized that Tom and I were probably the only corrections officers left. At 11:56, I told Tom that I hoped I'd get out of this mess and see my family. I've recently had my first child. At 11:59, I saw the red bracelet on Tom's wrist.